Welcome back, nieces and nephews, to GWAP, which stands for Just Everything with Auntie Pookie podcast. I'm your host, Sydney, or as many know me as Auntie Pookie. Now, welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, I hope you enjoy. This podcast is a little bit of everything, all the way from interviewing, entrepreneurship, motivation, marketing, really anything you can think of. On this podcast, I just literally have so much fun and just really enjoy myself and enjoy talking with others. And I feel like having a podcast where it's open floor for anything really makes it fun for just anybody to listen to. Now, in today's episode, I have a segment called Ask Auntie Pookie Anything. And if you would like to ask a question or even be on the podcast, you can send me a message on my podcast number, which is 970-528-0319. Now today, I have some pretty intense questions that were sent over to me, and I'll just make this one episode and maybe even interview some people who are struggling with some of the questions that I'm going to answer today. So this person asked, do you feel like it is wrong to create your own family because your family has caused you so much trauma? And I kept thinking about this question for a little bit, and I do feel like it is okay to create your own family. Reason being is a little background. I've worked with youth that have been in the system for years, and I know that some of their families are honestly just a little all over the place, and they have created such a ripple in the youth's life where they feel like they have no out. I think that if you find a group of people that are genuinely supportive and great, you can make them family and just really try to accept that your family is going to be how they are and they're not going to change. So what I learned through therapy is that some of my family members are always going to be who they are, and it's about me reacting to how they are. And I personally just do my best to not let it affect me, because that's something that I can't change. I can only change myself. So what the best thing I would say is, yes, create your own family. You can love your family, your blood family, but you can also love them at a distance, and you don't always have to do particular things because they are your family. Like a lot of people that I'm really close with, and some people that I just know that I'm not as close with who struggle with a lot of family issues, I do see that even though they're feeling really terrible about how their family is and stuff like that, they've also created their own and even started doing stuff in the community and getting or being a part of groups and just building friendships. You know, sometimes you don't have to build an extra family. You can just build really good friendships as well. And I think, again, it's just your reaction to how your family is. And if they are going to be who they are, you can create your own, and don't feel bad about it. Oh, this is a good question too. Have you had issues with family members, and was it hard to forgive them? The answer to this is yes. I've had issues with family members who I can kind of break down just some examples, who have betrayed me, who have talked bad about me, who have lied on me, and who really don't like me because I'm me. A little background about me, there's always the old me and I would say the new birth of me. The old me, yeah, young, dumb, immature, did things that young, immature people do, and it took me a while to mature. But one thing I will not change about myself, because I feel like God made me this way, is having a childlike heart. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm such an advocate for kids. I love kids so much. Hence why my name is Auntie Pookie, and I introduce myself to every child as Auntie Pookie so that they understand who I am, number one, and also they just see how I am with other children, which makes them feel comfortable with me as well. I feel like I'm a child whisperer, which is phenomenal, and that's why I work with youth, and I'm in all kinds of programs and working with nonprofits that work with youth. And also, I think that because I've decided to change and be a better person, a lot of people are used to the old me, which is their problem, to be honest. Not saying that in a mean way, but if people don't see that you've transformed in general, they just don't want to accept that you've changed, and they rather you be the old person that's immature and just all over the place. Now, with betrayal, for me, I have a lot of trust issues with people in general because I've had so many people in and out of my life. And I'm not upset about the people being in and out of my life because God puts people in our lives for a reason and a season. And so dealing with the betrayal of family, it really has been tough and was tough, but I've felt like I've done better with just accepting that people, again, are the way they are. I just make sure that I don't share things with people because some people don't deserve to know your whole life. They really don't. And also, I feel as though, and this is just for people in general who have had issues with betrayal, with family members, or in anyone, if you really want that person in your life, or if that person really wants to be in your life, they have to gain your respect again. They have to show you that they can be trusted. And then, you can decide if you really want them in your life or not. Now, when it comes to forgiving people, yes and no, I have forgiven people because I've forgiven them to be at peace with myself so that when I see or deal with them doing what they always do, I can just not get my hopes up and be all upset because I'm like, I know they're going to do it, so why not give myself peace? And I have not forgiven them to a point because it's like I wouldn't trust them again. And God does teach us to literally, trust just him and no man because we're all flawed. And I just feel like you can forgive people, definitely. And if a person is willing to just be better for themselves and in your life, then, forgiveness is easy. These last two questions kind of tie into what I just said. It asks here, do you think you can or have forgiven them? And I pretty much just answered that. And then, do you think your family likes you? That's a crazy question. Like, I think that my family, for the most part, loves me and cares about me. But I do feel like there are family members that low-key have a problem with me. And I can sense it, like, when I have conversations with them and they say certain things. I don't even know if I would say they don't like me. I think that there's a lot of families out there, and I just feel like I have family members like this. When you want to do something with your life and they don't like it and they think that it's dumb, they judge you for it. And it's like, it's my life. It's what I want to do. And if you don't support me, like, you don't have to, but you don't have to sit here and dog me because of what I'm doing, So I think that they don't necessarily not like me. It's that if I don't do what they think I should do, then it's a whole situation. Even as an adult, I feel like there are things that people have said in my family and they're just judgy. Like, oh, you're doing that? Oh, well, like, it's just annoying because you want your family to support you in everything you do. And it's almost as though it's like a fairy tale, right? Like, you have this fairy tale dream of what you want your family to be like and all of those things. And you weren't necessarily able to pick the family you have. You just have to kind of deal with it. And that ties into a lot of trauma, too, when you want to do things and no one supports you. And then you stop doing those things because no one supported you. And then your people are talking about you because you stopped doing that thing. It's just like a realm of nonsense. And then it's like you realize that you've done so much for your people, and at the end of the day, you're not even happy. My honey brought this up about this girl he saw on some social media platform talking about she worked in hospice and people were on their deathbed saying particular things. And one thing that stuck with me is that this lady said she wished she lived for her because everybody else died happy and she's going to die sad because she didn't pursue her goals and dreams because she was trying to satisfy everyone else, which ties into people pleasing. In life, we're going to disappoint people. We are going to have arguments and issues, and people aren't going to like what we do and decide to do. But at the end of the day, if you feel like it's what makes you happy, that is okay. You don't have to be miserable because somebody doesn't like what you're doing. I have had many ideas in my life, and a lot of those ideas I never follow through. And people always like, well, I thought you wanted to do this. Well, guess what? There are so many people in this world that have 600 jobs, work at 27 nonprofits, work in the community, help the homeless, do all these things, and that is okay. You don't have to pick one thing for the rest of your life. And I give praise to those that understand that. And I feel sorry for those people that have been brainwashed into thinking that you need to stay at a job for 100 years and be miserable. I personally refuse to do that. I refuse to stay somewhere where I don't feel like I'm doing anything or impacting anything. Life is so short. And I saw a clip that Eddie Murphy said, if you only live for 75 summers, that's not a lot of summers. 75 winters, 75 springs. Utilize those 75 summers and springs and winters and falls, because that's a short time. And just think about that. I think about that all the time. I'm going to be 33 this year, and I look at so many things I wish I would have done. And sometimes I feel bad because I've listened to other people in my family. But then I think about it, and now that I've grown up and really checked myself, I'm like, nah, man, like I could do this, and I don't have to get the support from the people who I really, really love. There are really a bajillion people in this world, and I know that's not a real number, but there's so many people in this world that will support you, that really will be like, this is awesome. You can be an example to someone else. You can definitely just show someone else that you can do it and they can do it. So regardless of how your family feels about you, you can honestly love them and love them from a distance. And if they don't support you, that's okay. There's a bajillion people in this world who will support you in your small business and your podcast and your clothing line and your music. There are so many people. It's just about keep pushing and keep going. Now, don't feel bad for creating your own family, not forgiving family, and just stepping away from them, because sometimes you have to. And that is what it is. And I might upset some people with this episode of Ask Auntie Pookie Anything, and that's okay. I have had the ability to learn so many things about myself and just people in general, and paying attention to things and writing and journaling and praying and really processing stuff. And at the end of the day, we're not on this earth to please other people. Yes, we're here to help. Helping is different from pleasing. So remember that. Remember that you can do what you want to do. And even if it's hard and if people doubt you, let me tell you something. There's people that are always going to doubt what you do because they are never going to have the courage to do what you do. And that's okay. That's their life. But keep pursuing things. Keep pushing. Keep believing in yourself. Keep validating yourself. Keep telling yourself, I'm going to kill it. Keep seeing that vision of you standing tall and signing books when you publish your first book, or you're doing a music video, heck, even creating your own first movie or whatever you want to do. Do not give up on yourself, because family is great, but sometimes family could destroy you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Keep your head up and just know you're amazing and you can do it regardless. And remember, again, there's a bajillion people that'll support you, even if they're not your family.